Hey, Dr. Brandy here. I'm so excited. Okay, so this is the first Facebook Live in our group. Celebrate that with me. Celebrate that with me because I'm very excited to be here. So in these Facebook Lives, they'll be happening every week. Here's the thing, the intention behind this group, as I said in my previous video, is to create a space, a container for women to be held through their evolution, through their transformation, to maybe shine a light on their path when they get stuck so that they can see what step to take next that is in an alignment with their deep inner truth and purpose here on this planet. Too often we get stuck in story that we need to show up a certain way and be the certain thing in that particular experience. And often that causes us to shut off what's really true for us. We don't feel what's really true for us because if we did, we probably wouldn't be making the choice to show up in that way. Or we feel like we have to show up in that way so that we can reach the next brass ring or make the money or make somebody happy, mom or dad or boyfriend or husband or partner or wife, whatever it is, right? So we tell ourselves stories, and it's really easy to get caught up in story. And so what we're going to do today in these Facebook Lives are two things. It's a time for you to be able to ask questions. I'm really hoping that in the conversations that we have each month, that there's things that begin to land and percolate inside of you and begin to bring forth questions and curiosity in your own evolution, in your own psyche, in your own consciousness. And as that happens, you're free to obviously text me anytime or reach out or post a message in the group, and I'm happy to answer it because any question anyone has is probably a question a lot of people have, so it's really good to do that. And in these, you can get me direct, live, straight up, let's have a conversation. Also, I want to use these lives for an opportunity to offer a tip or a tool or some sparkle of inspiration for your life so that you have something that lifts your spirit as you go through your days and weeks and the rest of the month. Now, we will be doing these every month, so mark your calendar if this feels appropriate for you. It's real easy to get caught up in story. It's real easy to tell ourselves that we're not capable, that we're not good enough, that we're too fat, that we don't have big enough boobs, our hair's not curly enough, I'm a woman, I'm too old, it doesn't ever work for me, I've tried everything, right? And so we tell ourselves all these stories that keep us small. And there is actually some benefit to being small. It's secure and it's safe. Even though we know it's uncomfortable, we know it, right? Whenever we decide to take off the box and let ourselves be in a different experience and something that's way more enlightened, aware, on purpose, we don't know what that's going to look like. So there is fear that rises up. And often we want to stay small so that we can stay secure and we are in control of this little dynamic and paradigm that we've created for ourselves, regardless of how challenging it might be. And so what if someone could hold your hand and guide you into your next step in your own personal evolution? What if someone could help you take off the veil or the blindfold that's keeping you stuck in limitation and smallness so that you can actually embody and live your true absolute purpose on this planet? I believe we're all here for a purpose, for sure. And if you're like a mom or a business owner and you've been, doing these things that you're doing from a place of inspired action, then you're aligned to that greater purpose. And also, sometimes for some of us, we could get stuck in those stories. We're like, well, I'm a mom. This is what I do. This is who I am. And then what happens when kids leave the nest? Who are we? Did we tie our whole ego and identity up in motherhood and forget who the rest of us were? If we're a business owner or in corporate or trying to make it happen, is our ego tied up in that to make the next dollar or to get the next patient or the client or, create the next product, right? In such a way that we forget what our inner truth is calling forth. I know I have my own story around this where I easily get caught in the story of like get it doneness, and I lose touch with what it is that Brandy needs, what it is that her soul's calling is asking for. And one of the things that I recently done, and this is one of those little twinkling stars that I hope lands with you, is I accidentally booked off 4 days out of my calendar. Now, it was an accident because I thought I was going to be leaving town Thursday through Sunday, and it just so happened I didn't. What a dream. What a dream to have 4 days of freedom. Like, what? I can't say I've never done it, but I rarely book off 4 days in a row for myself just to stay at home and do nothing. Like, no. If I book off 4 days, I'm going on a trip. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go hang out with girlfriends. I'm going to go to the beach. Do something with my boyfriend, right? And it was so nourishing that I was like, okay, this is going to happen more. This is going to happen more. And I'm going to actually make a commitment to you right now, getting off of this call, that I'm going to go to my calendar and book out my next 4 days, because it was so essential to my well-being that words can't even describe how good it was. And I did use some of that time to catch up on the things that were left behind and the patience. I can't stand closing a week out without closing out all my to-dos for my patients. And I had patient labs to look at. I had reports to write. I had prescriptions to write. I had emails to get back to. I like to think my customer service with my patients is impeccable, and I always want to keep it that way. And so when I feel like I'm dropping that ball, I get very stressed out. So I was living in a state of stress, like intense stress. That's not the only thing that was stressing me out. That was just like, whoa, this is the one thing that I did on Thursday that I cleaned all of that up, that really got me out of that loop of I got to keep working so hard because I'm so behind. And that's a common theme in my world that I am diligently working on letting go of, right? And like we were talking about, common themes or common stories that we tell ourselves can show up over and over and over again, and likely do, right? Because those are the repeating patterns that we get looped into that keep us from growing. I absolutely know for my next evolution, I have to have stillness. I know this for sure. I have to have stillness. I have known this for a while, and I can bring myself to stillness a little bit here and there and get my 20 minutes in of meditation, or even if I can't sit for 20, at least I can walk and meditate, or I can read a book or draw some tarot cards. Listen to how active that is, right? So here's another seed of inspiration, I hope for you, another twinkle in your heart. Carve out some time for yourself. Every day. Every day. Even if it looks like what I just described to you, let it be enough. Like in those moments, I was like, this is what I've got. I've got tarot cards today. I've got my journal today. I've got 5 minutes. Sometimes it was 3 minutes of breath work, right? And I'm like, that's what I got today. And let it be enough. Because you start somewhere, right? You start somewhere, and then every day you keep the habit up, and then every day you recognize you're growing in strength in that way. So for me now, I am sitting in silence. In the mornings, 20 to 25 minutes. It's been 20 minutes, and now this morning was 25. And at night it's been 15, and last night it was 5, because I taught my Love Your Body classes, aka You Beautifully Embodied classes, and it was very intense, and maybe I'll share some of that with you. Very intense. So after class I was like, whoa, wide awake, but I was exhausted, and I was up since 4 o'clock yesterday morning, but I couldn't sleep. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna do my meditation. I took a shower to try to cleanse myself, and then I'm gonna sit in my meditation. And by the time I got there, I was like, I do not have even 10 minutes. I'm gonna give myself 5. But the habit of just doing 5 minutes, which was perfect because I started to fall asleep at the end of 5, is what we're doing. We're creating habits that are sustainable and without judgment when we can't show up fully for it, but we keep the consistency going, okay? So, yeah, so just know that in this group, I am here for you. I am here to hold your hand. I know what it feels like to feel like, oh my God, this must be it. My life is over. I am 51 years old, okay? I am 51 years old. I don't think that's old, but my body is way different than it was when I was 20 and 30, okay? And so when I got really sick, and I got really, really sick. I had, back in COVID, like at the beginning of COVID, I had long haulers and I ended up with mold, and I've been on a 3-year journey of recovery from those two things, which I would say I'm about over with now, thank goodness. And then recently I had a lot of trauma in my life. My brother died about 6 months ago. My stepdad died just over a month ago. And my mom doesn't do well on her own. She doesn't know how to completely take care of herself. And so it's been challenging. And then I came home from all of that there in Texas, and my back went out so bad. I never even knew how bad your back going out could be. It was terrible. I could barely breathe. I could barely walk. I was sweating bullets, just like, and I couldn't stay still. So I was like having to move around to keep my mind off of it. And I ended up on really heavy medications, but luckily I have a lot of amazing practitioners in my life. One of them is Erin Myers, and she's an acupuncturist in our office at Wild Blue, and she helped me tremendously. My PT helped me tremendously. My chiropractor, Dr. Ryan Schrock, and his wife, Andrea Schrock. Oh my God, I can't speak highly enough for these people and the people I have in my life that have helped me overcome that. But then it was like, after that, I got sick, and then my boyfriend got sick, and then I got sick again. And it's just like one thing after the next, and it just begins to feel like it'll never end. And in those moments, we're like, holy crap, is this it? Like, is this my life? Is this what I get to do until I die? Because this is terrible. I was not living an inspired life. I was not feeling turned on. I was not capable of showing up in the fullness of that I really like to show up for my people. So in that, is there the opportunity for growth? Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't always feel good. And to have people like I had in my life to help hold your hand and pull you up when you're feeling down. It doesn't mean you don't get to be down, because really, sometimes we need to just wallow in it. Like, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but there's the recognition and the presence with what is true for us in a given moment. And the more that we can imbibe on that, the more that we can let it be and be in acceptance and like, okay, this is where I'm at. Yeah, this feels pretty shitty. And can I just be okay with it and know that this is a divine opportunity right now, because every single thing that happens in our life is divinity in action. Absolutely, no doubt, always, no time it is not. So it sometimes can make it a little bit easier to deal when you know that, okay, this is happening for a reason. There's something to learn from it. I got a lot out of that. I'm sure you'll hear in future lives and things like that. But just taking a moment wherever you're at and going, okay, you know what? This is where I'm at, and it doesn't feel good. And then recognizing that you and every other single human being has the ability to rise up. You do not have to stay stuck there. Even if it feels like it's forever, even if it feels like you're never gonna get well, even if it feels like you've tried all the things but nothing has worked, I promise you haven't. Wellness paths are infinite. And I'm not saying I have them all. I have one that's great. It's my way. It's how I help my patients, but it is not the way. The way is the way that works for you. So put it in your mindset that, okay, I'm in this situation. I'm not feeling fantastic. I'd like it to be different. I'm not sure that I can, but I want to open myself to possibility so that I can become a magnet and allow into my reality something or someone that can help me take my next step. whatever that looks like, right? And it doesn't mean, and you might get a lot of things starting to come at you, and I highly encourage you to interview them, to check in with your inner voice. Does it feel aligned? And then when it does, that's when you say yes, right? So find somebody that can help hold your hand. That's what this group is about. I'm really excited to be here to help you with that. But also we need personal care sometimes, right? It's really, really good to work with somebody one-on-one. So my goal is through all of this to little by little drip on you and help you create a plan for yourself that becomes daily habits that begin to move you into a life of living on purpose, a life of feeling inspired and fulfilled and whole and complete and so aligned to what it is you are here to do that there is no question in you. And when there is no question in you, you can show up in the best way possible for the people you're here to serve. So let me help you. Thank you so much. So glad you're here. All right, so now is the time, right? So what I want you to do is go to your calendar and put on your calendar I think it's third Tuesday. Is this the third Tuesday? I think it is. Every third Tuesday of the month. We're just getting started here, so thanks for your patience with me. And at noon Mountain Time, and we'll be doing these lives. If you have friends who are into this kind of conversation or feel like they'd be inspired by it, definitely send them over to the Activated Women on a Mission. This is a public group, and I want to grow this into a community of women who are here to lift each other up. Like, that's my passion, but I know there's so many, practically every woman I know wants to be of help and wants to be of service to other women. So the way you can do that is invite them to this group. Now, don't just invite all your friends, but invite people who will actually be a part of the group and having these conversations with us. Let's see, what else do I got? Yep, do your lives. I have some little notes here. Don't stay in the limitation of your safety net. Yeah, don't stay in the limitation of your safety net. It's safe. Yeah, here's the thing. I'm on a journey too, right? And I'm just sharing with you what I've experienced, and that's how I can share this stuff with you. And there was a moment where in all of that dysfunction I described to you, I began to realize that staying small, staying hurt, staying incapable, staying in story around my inabilities was actually a choice. Like, I began to make that realization. Now, my back going out wasn't necessarily my choice. That's a long conversation of how consciousness plays a role in that, which we'll get to at some point. However, it wasn't my conscious choice to, I want my back to go out. I want to get sick. I want to get sick again. I don't want to be able to show up for my patients. No, that's not a conscious choice. However, my ability to choose something different, when you get to the point of realizing, like, okay, you know what, my back doesn't hurt, I'm not really sick, what's going on? Like, how come I'm still feeling like crappy, right? You have this choice. You have a moment in time where you're moving out of like the physical pain or something like that, and you're into a moment of choice, and you get to choose, do I get to decide to experience something different, or do I get to keep re-experiencing this thing that I've been experiencing over and over and over again? And I made a very clear declaration and prayer that I was done. I was done. I am done. I will not keep repeating that pattern. Now, that does not mean I'm not ever going to get sick again, or my back might not go out again, right? And the pattern of dysfunction that kept showing up over and over again, which was serving a purpose for me. One, it was causing me to be still, which is what I needed to get here. So I'm going to keep doing that. So I don't have to go through that again to make sure, so the universe or God or consciousness makes me stay still, right? So yeah, but recognizing that limitation is a safety net, like we're safe in that space, is really important. So don't stay in the limitation of your safety net. It is actually safe over here too. The thing is, you're in divine alignment, and you're a flicker of God consciousness or universe, whatever you want to call it, and that experience gets to be cultivated by your consciousness and your decision and your will. So when you can decide and choose and trust that, okay, this is pretty good in the way it is. There's some things I don't really like about it. And I really have this vision over here, but oh my God, I don't know how I'll get there. I don't even know if I can. Put those stories away. Just put those stories away. Like, okay, you don't have to know how to get there. All you have to know is that's what you want, and you're willing to take action towards it by first aligning to something greater than yourself, that is the divine internal guidance system that's leading you to your greatest expression, and then being free enough within yourself and trusting enough of yourself that you're going to take those steps, whatever it is. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, what is it you want from me? I am aligning to you, and I am following your guidance right here, right now. What does that mean? I was actually afraid it was going to take me out of Colorado, but I'm pretty clear it's not now. So I'm celebrating that, right? But there was that fear, which caused me to make myself small and not move forward in the way that I know I'm here to do. So anyway, I hope all that is making sense. Trusting yourself, number one, that is like vital. And yeah, I just taking a minute to, real quick, I want you to just think to yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, in the realm of self-trust, where do you rate yourself? 10 would be like, absolutely, I trust myself 100%. 0 would be like, not at all. I don't even know what that means. So just see where you rate yourself. And don't judge it. This is not for judging. This is like, oh, right, okay, I'm a 5. I got a little work to do here. I'm an 8. Man, I sure would like to be able to trust myself 100%, say what's true for me, stand up for the things I believe in, and show up in the most powerful way because I'm entrusting of myself. We first trust in the universe, and then we trust in ourselves because we are an expression of that. And so just noticing where you're at on that scale. And then that may be some inspiration for you to begin to take some of these steps we've been talking about. Or even as we go through our conversations through the weeks and the months, maybe in 6 months you check back in and go, where am I on my self-trust scale? And maybe because of the little tiny actions that you're taking every day, you begin to grow it. All right. That is all for today. I hope that was helpful. I'm really excited to get these going. If you have a particular topic you would like me to talk about, be it nutrition, be it energy medicine, meditation, movement practice, anything like that, if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, let me know. Write it in the comments below and let's talk about it. I've got a lot of different tools in my tool belt, and I want to make sure that I'm speaking to you in a way that's going to be potent and powerful and help you move in the direction that you want to go. So thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting your friends. Thanks for lifting all of us up together in the circle of wellness. So love you, ladies.